Let's start with masculinity then. Let's look at the things of what it is not. And so these may be some masculine traits, but that can be manifesting themselves in a damaging way. And we can probably rattle off a few masculine traits. One of the things masculinity is not brutality. You know, we have the wonderful gift of strength as men, but we don't use that as brutes to beat down those who may be weaker than we are. Other thing is tyranny. Using maybe our position in a family or in a business or in a profession to be able to control people or manipulate people for whatever reason. It's also not elitist. And what I mean by that is when we take maybe our wealth or our knowledge and withhold those things or manipulate them to be able to control other people or keep them, you know, in a certain position. I've encountered that over time in my profession where someone may come to me as an advisor, and from having used somebody previously, and I'm one to give as much information as I possibly can to assist that person to do whatever they have to do financially. And they'll say, you know, my previous advisor never told me these things. They never explained, they never took the time to sit and explain these things. And I don't know why. Maybe they didn't have time. Maybe they were overbooked. But that's just what they're telling me. And I could tell, you know, that it was in such a way that they may over time start asking more questions they may have been afraid or embarrassed to ask before. And what a shame. What a shame for somebody to portray themselves that way on somebody else. To not say, I'm willing to, you know, just ask the questions. I'm willing to pass on all the information I have to you. And finally, it's not the externals, and that's why I say it might be a little nitpicky, but you know, I could even pick on myself with this. But you know, sometimes we might say, well, our masculinity takes place in these externals that we have. You know, it's like, you know, I know some guys that like big trucks. They say big trucks. You know, we've got to have a big truck or equipment. I knew guys that they would love equipment. I mean, they would buy, and they would rev them up and make noise and all, and that was, you know, they thought that was masculine. Or guns, big guns, you know, big loud guns, you know, that's masculine right there. And it's like, that's really not, that's, you know, mine, I'll pick on myself, athleticism, you know, I like being athletic and being able to be physically fit and all that stuff, but that's really, you know, and I'm going to get into a little Bishop Sheen here, and that's really not at the heart of what masculinity is. It's a little bit of manifestation of it. You know, we like to be competitive, and it's kind of a manly thing.